What is going on, guys? So after my last video, I figured I'm not going to make these resource videos one resource at a time, because to do that whole video all over again but for every resource would be extreme overkill. So instead, I'm just going to make one massive farming video. I'm going to make many more like this, but it's going to be covering all resources. These resources are pretty much your basics, and over time I'll be doing all the resources on Plains of Eidolon. I'll be doing resources on Orb Valis, and I will be doing videos on how to farm potentially every frame that you can farm. So now on screen is all of the resources that are in this video. If you are on PC or on a computer, you can click the links on the resource and jump to where that resource is found. If you're on mobile, I will try to put the timestamps in the description so you can just jump ahead and get to the resource you're looking for. So when it comes to building a team, you're going to want a Necros, a Hydroid, and the Korra. These three frames are going to be your staple farming frames. Necros with Desecrate, using Despoil. What Despoil is going to do is make you use energy instead of having to recast Despoil in X amount of seconds, so you don't have to worry so much about duration. With Hydroid, you're going to have Pilfering Swarm. Pilfering Swarm has a 100% chance of dropping additional loot if they're stuck in his tentacles. And with Korra's new-ish mod, Strangledome does the same thing, but it has a 65% chance of dropping additional loot if they're stuck inside her dome, making these three the perfect trio for additional loot. So now you have these three frames, you have one more slot, and personally I would go with a support, whether it be Wisp, Nova, or Trinity. Wisp is just all around amazing with her motes. Her haste mote is going to give you increased movement speed and attack speed. Her vitality mote is going to give you max health and healing over time. And her shock mote is going to stun enemies. Now with Nova, you can either go speed Nova or slow Nova. However you guys feel comfortable, try to discuss it as a team. But with speed Nova, enemies are going to be running towards you guys a lot faster, and it's going to make it easier to get more loot at the end of your session, or at the end of your game. Now with Trinity, she's going to be great for three things. She's going to be giving your team heals. She's going to be healing a lot because Trinity's heal output, it's probably what she was just completely designed for, just straight healing. Her EV is going to be great for giving your team additional energy, but I don't believe that should be an issue with a Despoil, Desecrate Necros, and her fourth for the extra damage reduction would keep you guys alive a lot longer to try to extend that farming session. There is one more frame I wasn't able to put on here, or at least I didn't have the space to put on here, and I thought about it after I had already chosen my three supports, and I completely kind of just put him in the back of my head, but Nidus. Nidus with his larva is going to be able to grab, with decent range, it should be able to grab a bunch of enemies into one little ball, which will be caught by Strangledome, it'll be caught by the tentacles from Hydroid, and Necros will be able to despoil everything that's in that bubble, because everything's going to drop to the ground in one nice little neat pile, and it's just going to be a bunch of loot going off in that one little circle. Now, just as a tip, I do recommend your whole team use slash-based weapons, because slash-based weapons have the potential to slash enemies into multiple parts, and the way that Desecrate works, it desecrates each individual part, which in turn would mean more loot per enemy killed. So with one corpse, if it's split 4 ways, you can get 4 different chances of loot from that one enemy. So if you're really strapped for time, these are just the boosters that are available in the market. You can buy these platinum, and you only really need 2 of these if you're going to be resource farming. You could possibly buy a third one. The first one is going to be the drop chance booster, which is going to increase the chances or the probability of the loot you're looking for dropping while you're in a mission. And the other one is the resource booster. The resource booster is going to double any resource that you pick up. And for a third boost, it would be the credit booster. It's not going to make a major difference. It doubles the credits you get in your mission, but usually and typically credit boosters are bought when you're going to farm the index, which I should have a video on farming the index next week, hopefully. And next week I should also be putting out a video on how to farm certain frames for our newer players. Alright, so in these next clips, I'm kind of going to go by them kind of fast. If you saw my last video, which is kind of my only other video, I should say, you'll see that I like to do missions in a 10-minute period, but that's because I run solo. A lot of the time I'm running solo. In some of these clips I am running with a team, but I do not know this team, it's just simple matchmaking. But I do have one map which I did solo and I got the reward screen for a solo gameplay, and then I have a screenshot of the difference of running a mission by yourself and running a mission with other players. Now this team didn't have like a Necros or a Hydroid or a Korra. It was just a bunch of random players with random frames, and you can see the difference in how many enemies you're going to be able to kill, how many more enemies are going to be available, how much more loot you get when you do have a team. Now if that team was a team that we made, we would have a lot more loot than what we got, even though it was a major difference in solo versus team play. But in any case, let's just get into it. So starting off, of course, we're going to be on Gabby. Same as the first video I made, we're going to be here for alloy plates and circuits. I have a 10-minute reward video at the end of this clip, which I'll be putting up now. And like I said, this video goes really fast from here. Next up, we have Ophelia. Ophelia is going to be your go-to place if you want to get Polymer bundles, Plastids, and this last one is kind of a rare, but Tellurium. Tellurium is not guaranteed, but with the Spoiled, with Pilfering Swarm, and with Strangledome, it is going to make it a lot more possible to get more Tellurium. Now Tellurium you only get when you're in a submersible mission, but Ophelia is considered a submersible because you start off underwater. So next up we have Wahiba. Now I do have to apologize for this clip for the rewards, because I had the overlay on Streamlabs up when I was recording the rewards, but if you can't see them, there's 240 Endo, 3,925 Salvage, 1 Gallium, 12 Morphics, and 1 nav coordinate. Now I said earlier that I have one screenshot of the difference in solo play and the difference in playing with a team. Now this team, I did not know them, it was not coordinated, I did not build a team and told them to play certain frames. It was literally just me running around with randoms. So with the screenshot you see the time is doubled where it was 20 minutes, but the rewards weren't doubled. With 10 minutes we got 12 Morphics and 3,925 Salvage. I didn't get all of the other resources that were found while we were playing the 20-minute mission, but the Salvage from 3,925 at 10 minutes playing solo, at 20 minutes with 4 players it was 18,000 Salvage. And the Morphics, which is what we're here for, instead of being 12 Morphics solo 10 minutes, it was 32 Morphics, 20 minutes, 4 players. So you can see there is a massive difference between solo and having a team. Now if it was a proper team comp, you could see upwards of maybe 50, 60 Morphics and 30, maybe even 40,000 Salvage or whatever else is being dropped on this map. Alright, so next up we have Tyrannus in the Void. This is going to be your go-to spot for Ferrite, control modules, and Argon crystals. Argon crystals being the rare here, because Argon crystals are stubborn, and you can either get 2 or 3, or you can get none, or you can get 9. If you have those resource boosters and those resource drop chance boosters, it's going to make a massive difference. I'm talking about you'll never leave a mission with none. You'll at least have 5 or 6. You can do a simple 5 waves of that defense and come out with maybe 8 crystals. Now for this next one, Tavuni on the Fortress. This one is kind of a pain. People usually run this mission for an hour because they just love running an hour. It's reasonable. You get a lot of Kuva here, but you're also going to be getting a lot of Salvage, a reasonable amount of Detonite Ampules, and a pretty decent stack of Kuva. In the reward screen here, I only have half an hour's worth, which is 3,800. But my team wasn't really focused on activating the Kuva siphons. It was more for the challenge that came up where you had to survive half an hour in the Kuva Fortress. Now, if you're looking at an hour of Kuva with activating all of the siphons and your teams, running back to back, you could be looking at maybe 8,000, 9,000, 9,500 Kuva in an hour, which is not bad at all. And again, with those resource boosters, you could be looking at 18,000, 19,000, maybe even 20,000, depending how long you stay in. For this next resource, you are probably going to want to buy all the boosters you can, because it is frustrating to get these simple resources. Mutagen samples. Mutagen samples are completely stubborn, and I hated every single bit of having to farm these. In this clip, for the rewards, I only got 10, but this map is completely generous with Nano Spores. I walked out with almost 11,000 Nano Spores. I guess I got a little lucky with the Neurodes because I got 2 of them. And now if I had the boosters, I would have walked away with 4. And again, this is only 11 minutes without a team, without all those extra frames that will give you additional loot. Alright, so for this next one we have Io on Jupiter, and I could not help myself to leave at the 10 wave mark and make this a short little trip. I had to stay for the waves. The amount of Oxium you get here is absolutely incredible. You're gonna get loads of Oxium, loads of Hexanon, loads of Salvage, and loads of alloy plates. If you have a full team comp here, I would honestly recommend you really do, because I ran the mission again and I forgot to hit record. I had 985 or 995 Oxium. I had nearly 400 Hexanon. Just the resources you get from here are absolutely incredible. If there was one mission where you really wanted those boosters, I'd say it's here. Because with those boosters, I would have been looking at almost 2,000 Oxium and nearly 600, 700 of the Hexanon, maybe even more because of the drop chance booster. It probably would have been over 1,000 Hexanon and over 3,000 Oxium. This map is absolutely amazing, and it's very simple. The only thing I recommend that you really have here, out of those frames that I put up earlier, would be Nova, a speed Nova, because the way this map is shaped, there's too many ins and outs, there's a lot of ramps, enemies come from the weirdest positions and you have to jump around and move around. It gets hectic. And finally, this last one, I believe is pronounced Hexanon. It's on Pluto. This is an excavation mission where you're going to get Fieldron samples, Rubedo, or as one of my friends calls it, Rubedo, and alloy plates. Plus, being that it's an excavation mission, you're going to be getting Cryotic. Now, Cryotic you can farm on any excavation mission. I honestly recommend this one if you're going to be going for any of the resources that were listed before this or mentioned before this. But typically, if you go to a lower level mission, you're going to be getting different rewards for completing excavations, which might be unfavorable. So for this last one, you're going to need complete star chart progress. You can check that by going to your profile, head over to stats, and you're going to see under general stats, it says star chart progress. It should say 230 out of 230 to unlock Arbitration. Arbitration runs on a cycle. Every hour there is a new mission that comes up, but you can only run it once. Let me explain that real quick before I confuse anybody. When you run the mission and you earn a reward at whatever mark it's at, you can't run Arbitration again until the next cycle. So if you go into the mission and you complete, let's say it's a survival, you complete the 10-minute mark and you get a reward, you won't be able to run Arbitration again for another 50 minutes when the next one comes out. So if you're in that survival for 50 minutes and you leave with your rewards, the next Arbitration will be available for about 10, maybe 11 minutes, maybe give or take a minute for it to refresh. Now, Arbitration runs differently from regular missions. In Survival, you get your reward at 5 minutes. In Excavation, you get your reward after every excavation. In Defense, you get it every 5 waves. Pretty much Arbitration doubles the requirement for you to get a reward, but it pays off. It pays off by having a chance of dropping extremely rare mods. I only say extreme because of their drop chance. Like Adaptation has a 2% drop. Rolling Guard, same thing, 2% drop. Sharpshooter, 2% drop. Vigorous Swap, 2% drop. And one of the newer items to the game, an Aura Forma Blueprint, has a 1.5 to 2% drop chance. And unlike normal missions, the reward rotation is usually A, B, C. C being the best reward you can get, or potentially one of the best rewards you can get. It's the top tier reward for whatever mission you are running. Every mission has its own tier or bracket system for rewards. But in Arbitration, the rotation is actually A, B, C, 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 C. It's C until you leave the mission. Along with completing Arbitration missions, every reward segment you get, 10-minute mark, or that 2 excavations complete, wherever your rewards come in, each time you complete one, you'll be getting a Vitus Essence, which is used in a shop in any relay that has the Arbiters of Hexus. Now, this isn't a massive shop, but it does have some pretty decent rewards. There are some cosmetics that you can add to your Warframe, there are some cosmetics that you can add to your Tenno, as well as some skins for your weapons. There's also a Riven mod you can buy for an arc gun, along with a stance. Anyway, the real reason we're running this is for the Endo. You can get, I believe the lowest reward is 1600 Endo for one rotation, and I believe that's the A and B. You can get 1600 or 1800 as the cap. As C rewards, you can get 2000 Endo, on top of getting sculptures as any rotation. So you can get a sculpture on A, B, and C. As you can see in the reward clip, there's 9600 Endo there, 2 sculptures, and 7 Vitus Essence. So with that being said, honestly, this is my favorite way of farming Endo. There are some people that say that the arena is better, but I see the arena as just chance. Honestly, the arena isn't consistent, and you could be looking at maybe like 700-800 Endo in 6 minutes. Now, on top of the 6 minutes of runtime, you're also looking at double loading screens getting back into the mission. At 6 minutes, you multiply that by 2, you're at 1200 Endo. As opposed to 10 minutes, you're getting 2000 Endo. So that's personally why Arbitration is my go-to for Endo. Being that you're also going to get sculptures as rewards, some of those sculptures are going to be worth more than the 2000 Endo you would get as a reward for Arbitration missions. Okay, so this little part here is going to be for getting Fieldrons and Detonite injectors without having to wait the 12 hours or without having to use your Fieldron samples and Detonite Ampules. The way invasions work is you complete a mission 3 times, and you get the full reward for running 3 times. If you do complete your mission 3 times, depending on what side you picked, you will be getting that resource. So Fieldrons, you can get 3 per mission per invasion. And if there's 5 invasions up with 3 Fieldrons, you can get 15 Fieldrons in the matter of 20 minutes, 25 minutes, as opposed to 1 Fieldron in 12 hours. So instead of getting 2 Fieldrons a day, you can get 15 Fieldrons by the end of 5 invasions, if they all have Fieldrons. Invasions are also going to be your source for getting the Dera and Vandal weapons. Every once in a while, the Vandal or Dera blueprints will be a reward from the invasions. But this section was just as a bonus because I saw it would have been useful, and it is useful in my opinion, for new players who really need these 2 resources. And on top of those rewards, you can also get Mutalis Eladvi nav coordinates, which are used to make the Mutalis Eladvi Assassinate token, or Assassination Key, which allows you to fight the boss to potentially get Mesa blueprints, if you ever wanted to craft Mesa. Now, for invasions, you don't get the reward immediately. It does take a little bit of time, but whenever the invasion is over, you will get your reward. I've never seen an invasion take more than an hour, maybe even more than an hour and a half. This is going to be the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed the content, drop a thumbs up on the video. If you want to see when my next video is coming out, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you can get notified when the next video comes out. And if you have any questions or comments, drop that down in the comment section below.